Sharon, my next question seems like it might have an obvious response. However, I know that you've actually gotten this question often. So, should an investor do an inspection before purchasing an investment property?
The answer to that is an unequivocal yes. You should get an inspection. I know a lot of people, particularly people who buy a lot of properties, maybe send a contractor in to look around. I've had a couple of those sales where I'm selling an investment property and another investor's buying it, and they just send their contractor in there to look around a little bit and make sure everything's okay. That's fabulous as a second step, but you want to have a bona fide inspection. Now, does that mean you need to extend it to pool equipment if you buy a home with pools? Not necessarily, because usually a contractor can go out there, a pool contractor can tell you anything that might be wrong with it if you have one on staff. But there are several reasons why I think you really should. To begin with, all of real estate, no matter if you're buying a home for yourself or you're buying a home that you're going to rent out, you have to look at it as a sale on down the road. So that's number one. And when you get an inspection, it's a Texas certified inspector who gives you a report. Now, do they put every single little thing in there that they find? Yes, a lot of them do, because they feel they need to justify their price that they charge for an inspection. But knowing that when you go in, there may be some things that your contractor might not see that they do see, and you have an idea of the general scale of the house. You may not be making the inspection or doing the inspection because you really want the seller to make any repairs, or because you want some money back, which is a lot of people do because they're buying their house for themselves. But you do want to know if there are any big things. Like, for instance, some of the things that I have come across in the last year have been rafters that weren't particularly done correctly, electrical that was not done correctly, galvanized piping that the owner had no idea was there, just different things like that that are very important. If you have an idea of those things, then even if you're still okay with the house and you're just going to lease it out, at least you can look at fixing those things over a period of time so that when you sell the house, you can get the most for it. This is a very unusual market, and things sooner or later will go back to the way it was. So we want to make sure that when you do get ready to sell it, that you get the most you can for your money. And then the second reason would be because if you're going to have other people living in the house, it's a different standard than if you would be living there yourself. So there are a lot of things that have to be safe and sound for a renter that the inspector might find that you might not think of or you might not know. Now, most people do have inspectors that they use, particularly realtors have people that they recommend that you use. If you've got your own, of someone you know and you trust that you feel can go into the house and make the inspection, I highly recommend that. If you don't, well, then you can always contact me or another realtor, and we'll give you an idea of who we think would be a good person to go in there and do your inspection. Secondly, would be your contractor, because there may be some things in there that maybe aren't that dangerous, but you just want to fix. So should send your contractor in there to look at them, maybe give you an estimate on what it might cost to fix, or just to get an opinion if they think it needs to be fixed before you get a renter in place. But regardless, when you go into a house and you're thinking about selling it down the road in the future, you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're working with and what your strategy is going to be moving forward so that your tenants are safe and you get the best bang for your buck.